Hello, and welcome to another episode of Empyrion Galactic Survival. Today I'm joined by another special guest. Privileged to have with us XCaliber. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad yourself?
Yeah, doing good.
Good, good,
Excited.
good. Well, obviously really appreciate you taking the time out to do this. And
Yeah, no worries.
I'm sure the people that listen to this will thoroughly enjoy it as well. So, with that being said, how did you get into Empyrion Galactic Survival?
So I started out when it first came out, and I was playing Space Engineers with my old clan SAS, and we discovered Empyrion, and we didn't understand the backstory. We didn't even know that it was originally Keen, and they had broken up and started Empyrion, and um, first impression of the game is I didn't really care for it, to be honest. Coming from Space Engineers and seeing this really unpolished game back then, it was there was the Titan crash, there was you could build a base. I think there was grow plots, and you could build like an HV. You
Yeah,
couldn't. I don't think you could quite leave the planet right away, but that became a thing eventually, like with an SV. But yeah, I didn't stay too long, and then I went back to Space Engineers, and then I ended up revisiting it, and then from there I never left.
what would you say your favorite thing about Empyrion is?
Oh, the building! It's the greatest building game I think ever in PC. Like I don't think there's anything that could come close to it, and I say that not because of the selection of blocks and the assets we have to build with, which is great. It's the fact that you can actually use the builds that you build to solve in-game problems, and I don't think there's too many
Yeah.
games like that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that one. Do you have an all-time favorite build?
Oh,
It can be your own build or somebody else's.
yeah. I mean, I guess I would just go with what I've said before, which is the Jay Randall's Chimera. It's what made me want to build when I saw it, and I saw the shaping of it back then, back when
Yeah,
everything kind of looked blocky and stuff. That build was just sexy. It looked like this crazy jet, like it was nuts. It made me want to build, and I never looked back.
yeah. With regards to yourself, what inspires you to build?
Problems. I mean, when I play the game, so I guess okay, so before when I first started building, it was the workshop. Like a lot of people, I the first build that really got people's attention was the Winnebago. And from there I was like, wow, I need to start building stuff, and I started building for the workshop, but eventually I got out of touch with the game because I wasn't playing survival. And when I
Yeah,
started playing survival again, that's when I really got inspired to build because I needed to solve problems I had in the game. I needed miners, I needed starter vessels, things that I can actually play with.
yeah. With I know on your Discord you have like your monthly build challenge. How did that idea come about?
Well, so originally I was part of Mr. Spicy's community. I was a moderator for his Discord at the time. Myself, Jet Set, Jay Randall, and when Alpha 9 hit, he gave up on Empyrion. He didn't like the weights and volume, so we were pretty discouraged with the Discord, and he wasn't using the Discord at all anyway. So it was weird. I don't think he understood Discord at the time, and so we just moved and created our own community, which became the Anvil Community. And from there, we actually adopted what he had called back then was I think it was the Creators Challenge or something like that, and we dubbed it the Designers Challenge and kind of kept going with it because it was a really cool idea. It was like everybody gets together and we build a topic, and then we share those builds. It's not about judgment. It's not about a winner. It's just about inspiring each other with creativity.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I've obviously been on your Discord for a while now. But this month is the first month I've actually, I'll say, plucked up the courage to have a go and enter a submission. So
Yeah, what'd you think? How was it? Like,
it was good. It was good fun, and for me, it took me really, I'll say, out of my normal comfort zone. Because I
yeah,
normally I'd say I've been the I'll say the faction stuff I've been building has been predominantly, to a set look in keeping with that faction. So every faction I've built for, it's been in keeping, like say Polaris. Obviously, the stuff out there already is amazing. I know Vermilion contributed a lot of it. So when you
Definitely.
build like for Polaris, I was trying to keep the same build style, so it looks like it belongs to that faction. So with this, because it was a bit of a free reign, it was more of a, not my normal comfort zone. So I really had to think about A, what you were asking for in the submission guidelines, and B, something that still would look like it could fit in with the hypothetical Talon faction.
Right, right. I think what's cool too is like, normally when you build something, you're building something based on an idea you have of something you saw maybe on a picture on the internet or watching an episode of Expanse or whatever. But with this, everybody gets the same brief and
Yeah,
you get to see 50 interpretations of that brief. And I think that's what opens people's kind of eye to go, wow, like how'd he do that? Like how'd he go that way? Like that's awesome. And you pick up a lot
yeah.
of little tricks and stuff too.
So with your own builds, how do you come up with your color scheme, or do you use a set color scheme, throughout?
Wait, there's color? I didn't.
Yeah. There is
I
color.
had no idea. Nah, I've never been comfortable with using colors, and I don't know if it's because I've gone so long without color. So back, before they had the custom color stuff, like it was those really bad default primary colors, and they just always to me looked a little cheesy in comparison to like shades of gray. At least with the gray, it still kind of looked realistic, but when you have this bright red or this bright blue build, it just kind of, for me, it took away kind of the realism of the build. So when we got the color wheel, it was like, oh, now you can do all these amazing, and then it kind of separated people because Jay Randall went nuts, Crazy
Yeah,
Z, a lot of these people went nuts in one way, and I'm like, whoa, guys, I don't know anything about colors. Like I'm horrible with colors, and I still have yet to really leap into that because I don't honestly I don't identify with necessarily a color. I mean, I guess I would say maybe green's kind of my favorite color. I guess I like oranges,
yeah.
and I've used them very sparingly in some places in my builds. But yeah, I don't know. I'm stubborn. I think maybe it's something I have to get over eventually. But because don't get me wrong, I've seen builds that look amazing with colors. I mean, the faction
Yeah.
stuff. You look at like the Creel. The Creel could never not have color, right? It wouldn't be the same.
No, I
So,
know. I mean, I know he's just put the space station up, and I had a quick
oh
look.
man,
I had a quick
yeah,
look, but I mean, even his other Krell stuff, just and the whole faction color scheme to me looks amazing. And
right.
when I was talking to him in a previous video, I said for me, Krell has been the hardest faction to try and replicate in terms of build style.
Oh no,
Because
yeah, it's insane.
yeah,
The curves and the chaotic,
yeah,
nature of it
and
is just
and the
beautiful.
colors, it is beautiful to look at.
Hmm.
Whereas like me personally, my own personal builds, I call them, that are things that I use myself. I don't release either because it's nice to have something for yourself. My personal builds are probably like you in that way, as they're like grey. I
Hmm.
have a slightly dark grey, and then I might add in, I'll say like a, like a highlight with like a single color, like gold or orange,
Yeah.
just to give it something, so it doesn't just look like a grey block.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned script earlier, and like I really like the Wastelander color scheme. Like it looks really cool.
Yeah,
I think Salustacor did a really good job with also doing like kind of a wrecked salvagey kind of look.
yeah.
Fungus. There's been some cool translations of what I wish I could do, but yeah, I haven't jumped over that hurdle yet, which is good. I mean, there's somewhere to go, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, there's always ways to move forward, and I don't know about you, but like you say, you pick up things from other builders.
Oh yeah, dude. Like every month doing these challenges, I get really into everybody's build. Like, you know, you guys watch the thing, but I'm walking through it, and I'm, you know, I mean, I learn everybody's builds every month, you know,
Yeah.
like there's maybe 2 or 3 other people that have seen every episode of the Designer's Challenge, but I definitely have.
Well,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a bit like
yeah,
Randall with it and myself, but I do slightly different to him with the weekly workshops. You know, where you just take
yeah,
5 or 6 builds and wander through them.
yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah,
And, you know, all of this is just, you know, because, you know, my feelings about the workshop, and um, this is what we need. This is what the community needs, is more and more people recognizing the creativity that happens in this game. I mean, there's builders out there that I don't know anything about, and they'll just show up on the workshop, and it's like, oh man, like, look at this thing. It's amazing,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. No, I
And it's like,
totally
who is
agree.
this person?
Well, for me, I noticed, you know, and I'm not going to name names, but if you go on the workshop and you hit up like most popular for the week,
Yeah,
or the last 3 months, you know, you can guarantee that there'll be a half a dozen names that fill 3/4 of the page, the very first page, and it's
right.
it's always the same names. And I've noticed, certainly since I've been playing, that even if you just click on most recent and have a scroll through, is that you'll have periods where there's only 1 or 2 releases. Like at the moment, there's not really a lot, because obviously people are waiting to update builds for, you know, the new
Right.
Reforged that I know you reviewed last night. It was last night, wasn't it? Yeah. At the time of recording this, obviously.
Right.
And I know some people are probably just thinking, oh, well, I'll wait for the update before, and then see what I need to update on my builds. But then you have other periods where, you know, you can have like 3 pages of releases, if not more, in a day. And some of them slip by the wayside. So like my workshop videos, I try and, you know, like last week the last one I did starter CVs. But I try and I'm not being horrible to people, because I respect all the builders out there and the creativity involved. But I try and pick people that I've never heard of, or I think, oh, that's interesting, that's different, I've not come across them before, just to give them a bit of, I'll say, airtime.
Right. No, I would agree. Like, you know, for instance, like on the ticker right now, there's this guy, I was looking at him yesterday, Scorpy. I don't know who that is, but this is amazing. Like, the CV he built looks freaking amazing. And not only that, but the presentation he did this cool, like, you know, like X-ray, like vision of like it's just
Oh
nuts.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, who's this guy? You know, and you're right. I mean, the way the workshop is built, it's not built for Empyrion, it's built for Steam. So, you know, there's no categories. There's no, I want to search for a cargo CV, or I want a miner, or you can't do that.
No.
It has to, God, the thing has to be called miner in order for it to show up.
Yeah. And the other thing I noticed, and somebody, I think it might have been I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. Is it Garriman?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce? Yeah. He said something, I don't know if it was here or on the official Discord, about in the search option there should be at least a button for vanilla and reforged builds.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
and listen, this is possible. This is what's a little frustrating, because I talked to Elion about it, and I said I will do the work if you give me the ability to make categories, and, you know, give people when they upload, just like the airtight checkbox.
yeah,
If we could have other checkboxes for categories and stuff, like, I'll put in the work, whatever you need me to do. Let's just get this done so that we can actually use the workshop, you know, and it's not just a big ego fueled, you know, you know what I mean?
yeah. No,
like,
I know exactly what you mean. I mean,
yeah,
even I've come across this mistake. I did a video a few weeks ago. I can't remember the build now, but I looked at the build, read the description. You know, nice, actually, you know, nice write up on the workshop, loads of pictures and stuff. Downloaded it, got recording the video, went to it to talk over it, and it was like, there's no generator. And I'm like, surely they didn't forget to put one in.
yeah,
And then they came back to me afterwards and they said, oh, that's actually a Reforged build. And I was like, I kind of guessed it might have been, but by that point it's too late.
yeah.
Because obviously I'm just covering vanilla stuff at the moment. So that option would be handy. I mean, I don't know about yourself. I did actually look at that ship you're on about with the cross section in.
Yeah.
Really good build. But that whole thing about actually people doing the write up for the workshop and adding at least some screen grabs.
Yeah, for me, it's like the game will tell you in the device menu if you forgot the generator or if you forgot like vital things. So it would be
Yeah,
nice if that talked to the workshop and the workshop went, hold on, at
yeah,
least maybe put like a little red warning on the build if it gets uploaded, does not have generator or missing whatever. And it'd just be nice if there was some more, because this is the bread and butter of Empyrion, is building, is sharing builds. It's the greatest asset the
yeah.
developer has to promote their game. You look at a awesome build on
Yeah,
the
no,
ticker, and
I
it's like,
agree
man,
totally.
you could build that in this game, like, or not even build, but I could fly that in this game. Like, I want this game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, that's why I say, like, even just that tick box, like vanilla
Yeah.
or reforged, would make a huge
Oh, I
difference.
can't imagine looking for reforged builds on the workshop. Like, as a builder, I mean, I'm inspired to build things and then use them. So I'm not necessarily using other people's builds. But if you're not a builder, like, I can't imagine how frustrating that is. You know?
Well, I didn't start out building when I first started, obviously, and then got into building and that
Right.
kind of took over. But even like reviewing other people's builds from
Yeah.
the workshop, you can imagine yourself if you're trying to find 5 or 6 of a particular category.
Yeah.
Once you rule out the ones, because for me, when I do those recordings, it's like, right, they've got to have some screenshots and they've got to have a write up.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, yeah.
Because there's like over 100,000 builds on the workshop, including everything that obviously isn't even in date anymore. But that can be quite time consuming just to find 5 mining CVs, for example, that aren't by, I'll say, the main group of names that often crop up when you're
Of
looking at
course, of
builds.
course. I mean, and honestly, like that type of content, like I think I've attempted to do that at least 3 or 4 different times. Like I've done it by myself. We did it with Jay
Yeah,
Randall and T Rex for a little bit. Did it with Spange. Did it, you know what I mean? And it's like it was never easy. It was such a hard thing to do because you know that when you're reviewing somebody else's work, like you have to have the utmost respect, and you got to try really hard not to miss anything and represent it correctly. And it's a lot, right? Like it's a lot to
yeah,
do that, because once you put the video out there and you edit it, like it's not like you could just go back and fix it. Like it's out there. It's not like streaming where I could go, oh, I missed that, I'm sorry, and it, like, right live right there you're able to say it. Like it's a lot of work to edit and put together something like that. So boy, like if you're able to
yeah.
do that like on a consistent basis, I mean, I have nothing but the utmost respect for you and anybody else like Jay and that attempt to continually do that, because it's hard work, man. I can't do it.
No, it is. It is, and the whole searching thing can be quite time consuming in
Yeah, for
itself.
sure.
So, with that being said, is there any pointers or advice for other builders out there that you feel that they might benefit from?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's consistent with what I've always kind of said, which is build for your playthrough. Start out that way. I mean, people, there's people that are just gifted artists that come into a game like this, and once they understand the medium, they just go nuts. I mean, I'm not talking about the unicorns. I'm talking about you know the normal player that wants to get into building and understand how to build. And you start out by tearing up other people's builds. That's the same way I learned. You tear up
Yeah,
other people's builds and you figure it out, you reverse engineer. But the important thing is to build for function first, never build for style first, because you get caught in a box where you haven't figured out proportion, you haven't figured out the blocks and what they do, you haven't figured out how to start a build properly without building yourself into a literal corner, and then you can't fit like a constructor and you get frustrated and you've spent hours and hours building something that you have to scrap. So build a box, build a brick, make sure you got everything in it that you need in this brick, make sure it flies, make sure it has thrusters, make sure it has all the basics, and then go into survival and have fun with it. And then you'll realize that when you get into the game, you'll see the error of everything that you've done, and you'll learn from it, and you'll want to build something better and better. I guarantee you, like sooner than later. Like that it's just gonna
no, I know
that's it.
exactly what
Like
you
that's
mean.
how you learn to build. And eventually the blocks come, the shaping comes. I'll always promote the designer's challenge as a great way to learn to build too, because you'll you have camaraderie there. You have people in the Discord that are going to help you out, and you get to see everybody else's builds and go, wow, that's cool how you did that. And you learn so much just from watching one little stream, and it's like it makes it so better than just being on your own trying to figure it out.
No, I totally agree, and I learned a lot when I first, as I said it before, my first few builds looked abysmal. My very first build looked abysmal, but it flew. My first CV, it flew. It looked more like a brick, but it did fly, and it was airtight.
There you go.
And I just went from there, and it was, like you say, reverse engineering other people's builds to see how they did things and learning the shapes. And once, like for me, I was more concerned with learning the shape, and once I thought I'd learned about the shaping, then came the texturing, because a build can look completely different.
Oh yeah.
If you say from like a base coat to like Randall kind of detail paint.
The big step too that you want to I think the place you want to spend the most time when you start to understand shaping and you want to make stuff look good is texturing with blocks. Jay Randall's talked about it tons of time. That's where I learned it. Spend as much time as you possibly can in that phase where you're texturing with blocks. Now Jay kind of textures as he's building. He's gotten that good to where he can like texture as he builds. But if you're starting out, build the thing, get your thrusters, get everything where you need them, figure out the proportion of the build overall. And then from there, just texture with blocks only. Don't paint it. Don't texture it. Just don't even have the gun in your belt, and spend as much time as you can on that. Come back a day later and do it again, and just continue to do it. But unlike me, keep going after that, because I'll be like, all right, I'm done. Cool. I don't want to paint it now, but yeah, like it'll just make it so much better. And I think coming up, I'm going to do another challenge where we texture with blocks, because we did that about a year ago, and man, some people had some just amazing builds, so detailed, and they weren't allowed to texture or paint it. It was so cool, man. It was such a cool month. Like everybody had a ton of fun with that.
Yeah. So what was the first game on the PC you ever got into?
Oh, well, so the first, I guess Oregon Trail, if we want to get really stupid, but Doom, Quake. So I used to go to my dad's work when I was a kid, and I'd have to be there like all day, and he worked in an office. He was like a quality engineer, like whatever he did. And I would sit in his coworker's office, and his coworker had Doom on his computer, and man, that was the life. I'd sit there and just crank hours and hours of Doom. But the first online PC game I ever really got into was Soldier of Fortune 1, and I actually I started a community in it, and it was called the Blade Snipers Collective, because all we used was knives and sniper rifles, and that's kind of where XPC came from. Blade Collective, Blade Snipers Collective, same kind of deal. So yeah, no, Soldier of Fortune. I was big FPS, and then eventually I got into Guild Wars, and I was big Guild Wars for 6 years, and then World of Tanks, and then early access survival train. Haven't gotten off yet.
So is there anything, I'm on about vanilla with this question. Mm-hmm. Is there a feature that you would love to see in vanilla that isn't in there at the moment?
Okay, if I had to pick like an actual feature, I would say if they could make the map a little more user friendly, I think that would mean a lot in vanilla.
Yeah,
it's hard because you get into vanilla and you get off your starter planet, and maybe you have a reason to go get Z and E, and and maybe some of the higher end resources. But maybe you're a mission person and you're into going to do the different mission stuff, or you want to go get the advanced core. Or is that even in there yet? I think maybe they removed it.
I'm not sure if you can. Because they added the Explorer tokens.
Yeah, so I'm not even.
I
sure.
haven't on my current playthrough. I haven't got them all yet. That I think the last one is like no CPU core. So I'm assuming that's that, which is like the last reward for the Explorer tokens.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't acquired enough tokens yet in my legitimate playthrough to see if that is that or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? Because I played a ton of vanilla, of course. I mean, until Reforged Eden recently became the go-to. It's like I was playing vanilla, and Reforged Eden has found a way to give you a steady progressive playthrough from beginning. Mid game is so big now, and then end game. I don't even honestly get to end game for the most part. Like, there's so much to eat in mid game with Reforged Eden that it's like and that's the difference. It's that progressive playthrough. The tech tree is a huge problem versus CPU versus unlocking versus whatever problems you have in the game. It doesn't mesh very well in vanilla.
Yeah.
There's no, you know what I mean?
No, I know
it's
what you
too
mean.
it's so hard, and it's like you just get defeated a lot of times based on just, I mean, why do you have to level to 25? What's the point of that? What's the point of the tech tree as it stands now? I mean, so I've seen games do a really good job of blending that all into a really solid progression, and it's like it just needs attention. I don't think it's impossible to get there, but somebody needs to dedicate some real time to sorting that out. When weights and volumes happened, when CPU happened, the whole community was in an uproar. People left, people were losing their minds. But now I don't think anybody thinks anything of it. I think it's just normal, right?
Yeah.
I think everybody's gotten over the builds they had 3 years ago. And I think everybody is, they're fine within those parameters. I would say, you know what I'll say, which I think would solve a lot of problems, is they need to make CPU and weights and volumes default toggle on. Keep it a toggle, but why is it off? Why are we telling new players that you should probably play this without weights and volumes and without CPU? That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
like, that
I
just
know
sets
what
the
you mean.
wrong precedence for the game, because they go and they get used to carrying an entire planet in their SV. And then, oh, wait, turn weights and volume. Oh, God, none of my ships come off the ground. What is this? This is ridiculous. This makes no sense. And it's like, if you started out...
That and spawning in like a 44 million CPU monstrosity.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, I mean, give people the option. If people want to play that way, more power to them. It's whatever you're into. You bought the game, it's fine. If it's a feature, it's a feature. But I just feel like you're setting the wrong precedence for the game. You're showing imbalance on the forefront of, impressions everything, right? You have 2 hours to impress somebody with your game before they can return it to Steam. That those first 10 levels got to be solid. They got to make sense. They got to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to get the big picture. You got to understand that you can build in this game. That's the big thing. That's got to be on the forefront. You can build amazing things in this game, but you don't know that until you stumble in the workshop, or maybe you spawn in a prefab. If you can figure that out, with the interface. I mean, think about joining the game for the first time. Like, what would you do? You'd go into the game and you'd see a bunch of plants, you'd see ripples, you'd see, and you'd be like, what am I supposed to do here? I have a survival tool. Like, what am I doing? There's the protocol. I mean, I guess some people do that, but I don't. I ignore all that stuff when I play.
Well, I know. Tend not to read the manual. I mean, like for me, my mate got me the game because we were looking for something else to play, and we played. The first time I ever played, we played co-op, So, you know, we picked the same, we got to the start menu, he did the thing, I joined him, he picked the planet, and then we came in on the escape pod, and it was, you know, pick the tool up, and then it's like, okay, what do we do? So, you know, we wandered around, and he built a scanner, and then we went and checked out some, you know, wreckage and stuff, and then we figured out you could salvage it, and then we worked out, oh, there's some resources over there, or you can mine that, but it takes forever with the standard survival tool. And I didn't, to be honest, the first time I ever played it, I was like, this isn't for me. And he was exactly the same, and he went back to 7 Days to Die, and I was like, actually, I'm going to give that another go. So I went on, I played single player, you know, died a lot, either through starving because I hadn't worked out how to make food at that point, or, you know, stupid things like walking straight into a spider's nest with no gun. But then I discovered the workshop, and I saw the stuff on the workshop, and I was like, this is incredible, people build this stuff. And then I went and googled it and watched a video, and then went into creative, and then spawned in a couple of things I downloaded, and I was like, this is so cool, and it obviously just went from there.
Oh man, yeah. And I mean, like, me and my buddy, we would just spawn stuff in a co-op game together, and we would just walk through builds for hours.
Yeah.
Just be in awe of things. Be like, look at this thing. This is before we even knew how to build, and it was like, look at this thing. Like, oh my god, this is you know, like old Piston builds and old J Randall stuff and Siege and 0G and like just all the kind of the older builders and stuff. It was like, man, they did amazing things with like nothing.
Yeah.
We didn't have any of these cool blocks. We didn't have half the shapes we have now. You know?
Yeah, no,
like,
no, I know the game's come a long way since it was first released. I mean, I obviously haven't been playing as long as you guys, but
it's remarkable.
The first proper build I spawned in that made me go like, wow, was actually Randall's Leviathan, the MCRN carrier.
Yeah,
you know, that was the first thing that made me go wow. And I spent probably a good like 3 or 4 hours walking around that.
Yeah, that was something. That almost broke him. We almost lost Jay to that build. That was, oh man. Because you could imagine, like, you're not just building something that's insanely big and detailed, but you're incorporating other people's creativity into your build, and that's a lot of pressure, man, because Jay's such a nice guy. And oh man, like, but it's just insane. You walk through that and you see the contributions of like some amazing builders, dude, like the theaters and the tennis courts. It's just insane.
Yeah
It's such a good build.
Definitely. So is there any block types or shapes that aren't in that you would like to see in the catalog?
Yeah, I mean, I just want some continuity of the originals. I'm not smart enough to tell you, like, yeah, I need like a sloped 24-degree. You know, I don't know. Like, if they give me new blocks, I'll be like, ooh, and I'll try them out, and I'll be like, oh, okay, cool, I could use this. But honestly, there's a couple blocks that need to be in there to continue like a good 3 or 4 block run.
Yeah.
And it's a little frustrating. It's like, oh man, if you had that block, you could do so much. So yeah, there's a couple missing little transition blocks and stuff. And it'd be nice because we have a 45-degree, we have a 22-degree. We have like I want to say, I'm just guessing, but like maybe an 18-degree block. That's the ramp with the little notch on it. It would be nice if there was a second block to continue that angle instead of having to use that other 22-degree block.
Yeah.
The one with the bigger notch, you know what I
mean? Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it would be nice, like those 3 blocks.
Yeah.
So you've got the first 2 are really nicely sloped, and then that final one just isn't the right angle.
Right. No, it's frustrating. Yeah. And then, you know, I mean, I guess it'd always be nice to have rounds and stuff, but they attempted to give us those weird roundy ones, and see, some people can get away with that, but when I look at those rounds, the lighting just ruins it for me. It looks so bad with the lighting, like the way it like shows up. You know, it's weird. It's weird how it focuses on the blocks and stuff because it no longer looks cohesive. It looks like, oh, that's a block, that's a block, that's a block.
Yeah.
So it's hard, but you know, it's what they could do, I guess.
So obviously you do YouTube and you stream videos and make content. what's the best comment in regards to your videos that you've ever received?
Oh man. I guess, well, I can't really speak to a specific one necessarily, but so when I do YouTube, I don't, I don't do like you do. I don't sit there and edit things and make them look pretty. I
Yeah,
mean, I literally just stream to both YouTube and Twitch, and that way people can digest it on YouTube if they want. But what's great is I get people that I don't necessarily hear from them in live chat, but they're very consistent with their feedback on like all my videos, and it's really it's I still don't understand how people watch me do this for hours. They're like, I don't get it. Like I don't get it. It's remarkable that people like they literally do, and like GM, like there's a couple people that just repeatedly give me awesome feedback and maybe 3 or 4 comments in one like video, and it's like, man, it feels good because it's like this is cool, man. Like I enjoy streaming because it's like I'm playing with 40
yeah,
people, but they're watching me play. It's it's weird. It's like, I relate it to my kids, my kids, hey, watch me do this or watch me do that. It's kind of like the adult version of that. It's like, watch me suck really hard at this game. Tell me what to do better and remind me to breathe. And, I don't know. It's hard to
yeah.
play games without streaming now, to be honest. It's a little weird. Donk can tell you, because I'll sit there and talk and I'll be like, bro, there's nobody here listening to you. It's just me. And I don't care.
Yeah, see, I haven't, I don't have Twitch, and I haven't plucked up the courage to attempt the live stream yet. So,
Oh man, I don't think you'll ever go back. It's different. Like with YouTube, when I try to record things, and I've done it in the past, I've done Let's Plays on YouTube in the past, and I just feel, I don't feel that connection, right? Like I feel like I'm playing a game,
yeah,
but I'm talking to myself the entire time, and I'm not a very good audience. And then I'll be like, you know what? I didn't say that right. Let me go back and let's try this again. And I'm like, oh, I become this weird perfectionist that I'm not in any other part of my life. When I stream, it's like, oh, okay, that happened.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. No, I
whatever.
know what you mean.
That's in the past. Let's keep going.
Yeah. The
It's just,
I get
I
at
just
the
enjoy
moment.
it
I
more.
guess the biggest thing for me with the I'll say the pre-recorded stuff like this, for example, is I can go back and listen to it and think, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or I should have rephrased that slightly, But for me, I all I predominantly do at the moment are these
Totally.
interviews, which are as and when I do my weekly workshop reviews, and I do what I call my weekly roundup, where I basically just go through what I've personally done in the last week, and if there's anything important newsworthy wise, I will mention it. Like if Elion release an update, or like the teaser the other week to do with the new resource rocks, that sort of thing. So I'll kind of just round up in a nutshell
Right.
anything of relevance on top of, well, this is what I've done this week. But apart from that, at the moment, that's it.
See, that I've always wanted to, and I've even mentioned this in the community. I've always wanted to do a weekly like community news video, like with and like with somebody too, not just by myself, but like actually have kind of like a weird like news broadcasty thing. Like I'm not talking about maybe sitting at a desk and looking like
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
like Anchorman or anything, but you know what I mean? Like I just think it'd be cool just to update everybody on what's going on in the community. Like, oh, Script released this really cool CV for the Wastelander faction, and this is happening. Vermilion wanted to make this change, and XCal said something really stupid in his stream, and just like it'd be cool to update the general
Yeah, no, I get
community on everything, not just what I mean, because you don't yeah, and you could just digest the community in like 15 minutes. I think that'd be fun. But
no, that sounds like a really good idea, actually. And the thing for me, and I don't know if this is the same for a lot of people, is like with Discord, for example, unless you're specifically tagged in something, like when you log on to Discord, say in the morning, you log on and you've got like,
right.
nearly everything highlighted because overnight, there's been 200 conversations on nearly every channel, and someone's posted 70 pictures of their build. And like for me, I just, no, it's very active, and like obviously
it's
I'm
a
an
very
official one
active
as well.
community for sure.
But it's like, so unless I'm actually personally
Okay.
tagged or I see something that catches my eye, I just tend to quickly scroll through just to clear the backlog. So obviously that way,
Right, right.
sometimes things
No,
get
I'm with you.
missed. Like you were saying, like, oh, if such and such said something silly in his stream, or
It would be cool. I think it'd be cool, but I think it would take like a couple people. It'd take
yeah,
somebody that was willing to do the research and get all that info, and then it would take people getting there and actually doing the recording, and then it would take somebody to edit it. But I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a cool thing to do community wise.
yeah. No, it sounds like a good idea actually. Is this something original as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Like with these interview videos, I've had a couple of comments on because I posted the links on the forum as well. I've had a few comments saying, that actually this is a really good idea. It's nice to see what other builders think and what advice they give that you might not normally get.
No, for sure. And everybody builds differently.
Yeah,
Everybody starts a build differently. Everybody, I mean, there's no one way to do any of this. So it's a lot of fun to see how people do it.
yeah. Is there one event that inspired you to start to YouTube and stream?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess it was honestly just based off of the mass exodus of Spicy's channel. I mean, because we had built something. I mean, we were building like a community there, and
Yeah,
I saw it, and I've always wanted to build a gaming community. I was part of Sabers and Shields for 10 years. I was part of a community called International Conflict. It was about 300 or 400 people, and we would play joint operations. It was like this military sim, and I did that for years, and it was cool. So I've been a part of some cool communities, but around this game, I just thought it's like, man, it's just missing. People don't talk. People don't. We don't show our builds in a way that to me is positive, and it's all upvotes, downvotes, and it's like, so when we started building that, it was like, man, it's amazing, and it just got severed, and I'm like, nah, like let's keep going, let's keep doing this, and then it kind of came from that. It was like, well, let me see if I could maybe do like a stream or something. And so I mean, if you look at my really old streams, it's horrendous. I'm on an old gaming laptop with a really bad integrated webcam and a really crappy headset, and
yeah,
it went from there. And I think the community, I mean, had it not been for the community and the contributions of everybody, now I have a legit PC that I've been using for 3 years now, that's just it's doing everything right, and just
yeah,
slowly progressing that. But it's off of a need. I mean, people want to have a place to get together and share passion about this game and what the capabilities are. I mean, you look at yesterday, I'm nothing but insanely reinvigorated to build an entire new fleet of ships just based off of what I saw yesterday, what I played with yesterday. It's like, oh my God, I have 20 ideas right now. Let's go.
yeah,
And I haven't
yeah,
even landed on a planet yet. So once I land on a planet, it's like, oh, now I need something for this. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
and
so
obviously with
good.
the new stuff, that opens up new possibilities as well for other new builds that you might not have thought of or weren't really worth having before.
Yeah, and this is the game. This is what Elion has is I mean, you look at what are some games that do a good job at this? You look at like I don't know, like Diablo 3 and like all the seasons, they add things, they
Yeah,
take away games. There's a lot of games with that format where it's like, oh, here's an all new set of weapons, and here's World of Tanks is great at. Here's a beefy freaking tier 10 that you can work towards, and then we'll nerf it in 3 months. It's like, but it keeps people interested in the game. It keeps them going. It's like, wait, what? We have shields now? And then it's like, wait, what? We could recharge shields now? Like, you know what I mean? It's like you keep
yeah,
giving people more reasons to want to build. People are going to get creative and build stuff. And
yeah. And I mean, when you look at, like, I'll say Project Eden and Reforged, and then obviously Reforged Eden together,
right.
the amount of insane amount of time, effort, and work that those two put into that is incredible.
Yeah,
And I have nothing but huge admiration and respect for them.
for sure. Like I'm blown away that we have people And we have a lot of people that devote so much effort and passion to this game. Like I say what I'm saying right now, but everybody feels this way. Like there's, you look, I mean, it can't be anything but love and passion for them to put this much time into something for the sake of people enjoying it. And that's it,
No, I mean, I totally agree. And that's exactly how I feel. I mean, obviously, we've not really spoken before, not in chat anyway. So
Right.
this is a first. I exchanged a couple of messages with you on the suggestion thing when you were on about videos and stuff, and I think that's our only interaction prior to this.
Right.
But for me, like I really enjoy this game, and to be honest, brutally honest, at the moment, this is pretty much the only game I'm playing. you know,
Yeah, and that's a big point too, and I think that's something that I think doesn't get recognized enough.
uh,
Is 10 years ago, it used to be that you would play maybe one game,
yeah,
and you were able to play the hell out of that one game. Like, and I can tell you, and I just told you all the games that would be the only game I ever played. And then in these last 10 years, with early access and with games just popping up from anywhere and being put out right away, we're playing 4 or 5 games, we're in a month or something. And so it's so awesome to have a game that you want to play all the
yeah,
time. Cause yeah, you just,
yeah,
you have that, you're able to develop that love for the game,
yeah,
I mean, you accept things about it that are flaws and you hope that they get fixed, but you work around them. And, you're less apt to leave if you spend enough time in something, right?
yeah. And I mean, I've dedicated a lot of time to this because I do love it,
For sure.
and it's like I don't know if you know this fully. I mean, I have posted things in the POI thing, but obviously, like for me, I was kind of on my own playing single player, not even using Discord, and then watching the odd YouTube video if I was looking for something, and then I came across Spange's Brotherhood video when he was asking
Right.
community members to help with a faction. I was like, oh, that sounds like a really good idea, and it's going to meet people, bring people together. And then I jumped on and got involved with that and helped build some stuff for the Brotherhood. And then I joined the official Discord, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. There's a whole other community here. And then obviously
Yeah.
came across you and joined your Discord, and I was like, oh, there's even another community. There's just so many different people all just have the same love for the game. And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I need to build something, and Heckendiver said, oh, I could really do some help with ARC, and
Yeah, that guy's a unicorn too,
yeah,
man. That guy.
um,
Hey, look, here's this size class 25 CV I built last night. Like, wait, what?
yeah, exactly,
Where did that come from?
yeah,
It's like, oh
so
man.
I helped build some stuff for his faction to give him enough POIs and stuff to get it into the game,
Nice.
and then I know because I speak to him periodically, I know he's had a lot going on in his real life. I won't talk about that, that's up to him. But I know he's kind of taken a bit of a back seat at the moment in regards to building and stuff.
Right.
And I've noticed, he's been playing other stuff. And then I helped script a bit with the Wastelanders, and I was like, actually, I really enjoy building POIs and OPVs. This is really cool, actually. And obviously it's something for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's when
for
I
real.
came up with the Ravagers. I was like, well, sod it. I've built for other factions. I might as well build my own.
Nice.
So I spent quite 2 or 3 months writing and rewriting the lore and history, and then started to build. And Alessia, he chipped in some builds. Stellar Titan chipped in. Other people helped with bits and bobs. So, and obviously huge thanks to them. But it's amazing when people get involved and they're like, oh, that looks awesome. I can't wait to see that in the game. When's that going to be in? The same as people were hounding Vermilion and Ravion, bless them. Or when's this update coming? When's it coming? When's it coming?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, well, it'll be ready when it's ready. I can't make Elion work any quicker. The same as, you can't make them work any quicker. They're obviously doing the best they can. And it's going to be worth the wait.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be worth the wait. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like we've
Yeah.
been waiting 6-7 months for this, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was worth it. Like, wow. Yeah. No, that's awesome, man.
But then as well, like Elion announced their roadmap for this year.
Really?
Yeah, their milestones.
Oh, right. Okay.
So in what is it? I think it's
I did see that. They yeah. You scared me. I thought they actually released like a like a
no,
real
no, no,
roadmap. I'm like, wait, what?
no. Just
Whoa.
like a pencil thing. So they got the 1.8 in July, 1.8.5 in October, and then 1.9 at the end of beginning of December.
Right.
No, but so when you read what's penciled in for those, you think, wow, so we're actually going to finally get new NPCs amongst other stuff and new looking resources, and they're going to do this and do that. It's really good to see that they're actually saying to everybody, look, this is what's coming down the road.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, they did get a new management team and everything, so I'm happy, man. Like, I'm hoping that more of that happens, and they're more consistent with communication, because it's always been communication with Elion. We just don't understand what's going on, how it's working, when it's coming. We don't understand the overall idea and concept of the game. Like, it's never really been divulged, and it's
yeah,
like any other game you go into, even an early access game that just came out, like usually the developer will tell you what they want to do. You look at Icarus, for instance. Icarus came out, and they told us a lot, and they've been very consistent with communication. They've listened to the community, they've fixed things, they've changed things, and that's, to me, that's what makes a game successful. Is you don't necessarily have to listen to everything in the community, because the community will say ridiculous things, right? But
yeah,
if you at least keep an ear open, and as long as you're still going in the direction that you wanted to go in, but you're also willing to take in interesting ideas from other people, um, that's the important thing, because to me, 40 people in a room are going to come up with way better solutions than I'm ever going to come up with
yeah. No, I
on
know
my
exactly what
own.
you mean.
I
Yeah,
might have an inspired idea once in a while, but it's not going to hold a candle to 40 people, because we all have inspired ideas. So when you get
yeah,
everybody together, it's like, hey, look at this, tons of ideas.
yeah. So if with regards to like streaming and YouTubing, if there was any advice you could give to somebody who was new and wanted to get into it, what would it be?
Oh man, I mean, I guess my biggest advice, and it probably sounds cliche, but just be yourself. Don't try to act a certain way. Don't try to hold up some kind of false pretense of who you are,
Yeah,
because especially in streaming, eventually it's going to come out. Eventually, you're going to have a real moment in the game. You're going to get frustrated. Somebody's going to say something in chat that rubs you the wrong way. You're going to react differently than you've been acting, and it's just going to come off. It's going to come off like disingenuous.
no, I know entirely what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, like, I mean, I've had some bad streams for sure. I've had some, nothing too scandalous or anything, but yeah, I've had some some
Where things
dramatic
just
moments there.
things just don't go your way.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's like, but any way I reacted to that wasn't anywhere out of my general personality, and I just dealt with it the way I dealt with it, and people genuinely were fine with it. I mean, there's like,
yeah,
okay, bad day, understood. I mean, these people have been hanging out with me for 3 years, almost every day. Like, you know, these
yeah,
guys know me, and then that's what you have to you got to come to grips with that. People are gonna know you. They're gonna learn you, just like you would make a friend anywhere, a coworker at work or whatever. I mean, people know people on a level. When you're streaming, it's for lack of a better word, it's an intimate process. Like, you're literally sitting there, um, and people are literally watching you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you sit next to your
yeah.
friend, you're not staring at them all day, right?
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's so you gotta, once you get over that, once you realize that, it's like, hey, it's whatever. I'm not hiding anything. So
Yeah,
um yeah, you just act the way you act, and if you enjoy it, then it's going to be easy. If it's work, and if you're trying to become a big streamer, and you're trying to make content, and it's going to be hard, because it's going to feel like a job. And I've always wanted to build the community. That's always been my interest, not necessarily being a big content creator. But I mean, it's
yeah,
you know, it's a happy byproduct, but you know what I mean? It's like, I don't do
Yeah.
things I don't like to do.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So
That's my advice, I guess. Don't do things you don't like to do.
yeah, with regards to equipment, is there any equipment you would recommend for a newcomer?
I mean, I guess a good microphone is probably really the only important thing.
Yeah,
Um, anything else will come. I mean, people are willing to watch people in 360p and with no webcam, with a webcam. You got a new webcam and you want to get a better webcam, whatever. Like, people are willing to ride with you as long as they like your content. I mean, if you're if
yeah,
you're cool to be around and you're interesting and you have a personality and you're willing to talk to people, you're willing to read people's feedback and incorporate them into your content, people respond to that, and they'll ride with you, man. They don't need 4K. And I mean, it's nice, eventually you'll get there if you just you're consistent and you're passionate about it. But yeah, I think a microphone, people need to be able to hear you, right? If you're
yeah,
just scratching and you sound horrible, I mean, that's going to be rough for people. That might be a deal breaker. But everything else, yeah, nah. Well, you look at Donk, man. He's got a freaking potato, but man, people love watching him. I love watching him, and I'll sit there and watch him on the side and just be building and be like, "What the hell is he talking about? Shut up," But I'm still
yeah,
watching, right? Because it's Donk, and
yeah.
that's it. You just got to be able to connect with people.
No, I understand that completely. I mean, for me, my first couple of videos, I got not criticism, but got constructive feedback about my mic because it wasn't the nice one I'm using now. I was just using my old headset that I had anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I tried on a new headset because basically my old one, you get to the point, like the speaker part of your headset. Mine was that bad. I sellotaped it back to the actual bit that goes over your head.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was on his last legs. But I recorded like my first video with that, and the sound wasn't that good. And then I got a new one, and it was like, I was a bit quiet, a bit tinny. Then I tried a lapel mic, and that was even worse. And I've got the mic I'm using now, which I obviously haven't had any criticism about. So I'm assuming it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good to me.
Yeah. So have you had any setbacks in regards to YouTube stream, community, etc.? I mean, I know you mentioned about your original one, like, coming to an end and you continuing it, but other than that.
I mean, setbacks. No, I mean, nothing that stopped me from wanting to make content. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always, I don't know, I've always been able to adjust. I mean, there's tons of things that didn't work out, and I moved on from them. There's tons of series and content and games and concepts. I mean, we did Pimp My Ship for a while, and that kind of fizzled. Designer Spotlight, like, I want to bring that back. So just, yeah, I mean, things come and go, but and that's just because I stick to what I said, which is like, I'm only gonna make content that I enjoy making. And
Yeah.
when it becomes a job, when it feels taxing, like I don't want to do it, then that's when I stop. And that's why I have 100 playlists on my YouTube that I only have 4 or 5 videos, because that game sucks, I don't want to play it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know
you know
exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's real. And I think people understand that, but then that's a consequence of YouTube, is like, you don't get, consistent viewership because you're not grinding it out. And I can't do that, man. I can't grind out content for content's sake. It's just
No.
gonna always be my setback.
Yeah. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm really hopeful, man. I mean, I gotta say, like, you doing this series is really cool. But just
Thank you.
people like finding new creative ways to continue to close in, not close in, but bring together the community that we have in a meaningful way, I think is awesome, man. You look at other games, you look at like Space Engineers, and you've got content creators in that game, and you got people in every game. You got Scrap Mechanic. I don't care what game it is. You have a couple good content creators that really kind of set the tone for the game itself. But boy, with Empyrion, man, we have a lot of talent. Not only builders and not only like players. Like, we have some insane Empyrion players, people that can run POIs in 20 seconds and shit. But we have innovative content creators, and
Yeah.
I think it's just a byproduct of community. It's like once you get together with people, and once people aren't toxic and they're just kind of cool to hang around and talk to, you get inspired to find new ways to interact with those people, and to give those people that that moment, that shine that they deserve. I mean, not
Yeah.
everybody is willing to stream. Not everybody's willing to edit for 6 hours a day. Some people just, they spend their time building, or they spend their time putting in bug reports. I mean, we have people that will put in a bug report every day, and they're willing to put in that work. There's people that'll take people's creative builds and make them into OPVs, and, just thankless jobs that people do to continue to make this game amazing. I mean, we've got, Ravian and Vermilion, and, there's other scenarios out there that, people are passionate about building. There's other servers out there that people are passionate about putting together for people to play. And,
Yeah.
so I'm definitely not in my bubble as far as like my community and everything. Like, I understand there's a greater community that is Empyrion, and there's a PvP community that was very active in the past, and there's just people that are real passionate about playing this game, and I think it's what's kept this game viable and relevant all this time. And with Reforge Eden, and hopefully vanilla continuing to march forward. I mean, I'm actually optimistic about this game. Like, if you asked me 2 years ago or a year ago, I would be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how much longer this game has, because it just doesn't seem like, things are going anywhere, and it doesn't seem like development's moving in the right direction. But now, man, it's like, I don't know, like 5 years we'll probably still be doing this.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
we got waves and we got crouch. So
yeah, like, who would have known we would have ever gotten crouch? I never thought we'd get crouch. Like, are you serious? Like, no, I never thought that was
and now everybody wants prone.
yeah, well, one day, right? Maybe a year from now.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, because they
Before
are obviously going to
Christmas.
go over the player avatar.
Yeah.
So, but well, obviously, I'll if it's all right with you, I'll include the link to your Discord and your YouTube in the video description if people want to come and join and
Yeah, definitely,
see
man.
see what it's all
Everybody's
about.
welcome,
And,
man. Everybody's welcome.
yeah. Thank you again. Really appreciate you taking the time out to do this.
For sure, man. Thank you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome, man. Like, I'm looking forward to checking out the other episodes and stuff.
Thank you. Well, you're my fourth guest, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're my fourth guest. I had Script on last week, and then Randall and Spange were my other two.
Nice.
So,
nice.
And again, like that was the first time I'd ever spoken to Randall either. In conversation.
How was that?
It was good. It was good. Really,
He's awesome, right? Like...
Yeah, awesome. Everybody I've spoke to is awesome. I this is one of the few communities where I haven't had a bad experience with other people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As you say, toxic.
Right.
Other games I've and it's the same. If you're a noob and you ask what might be deemed a silly question, at least somebody will come back and say, oh, there's a video here, or somebody did it there, or here's a link, go and check that out. Whereas if you ask that on some forums, they're like, oh, get good, scrub.
Yeah, no.
Well,
and that's it, man.
Or here's a link to Google,
Yeah, no, you gotta be, in order, if you're playing this game, there's some level of patience and passion that you contain to even play this game, right? To find those enjoyable hours in the game, it takes a little bit of work. You got to get past a lot of you got to have a lot of patience for it. So it's really fortunate, man. Like, we have amazing people.
So that's everything for today, folks. Hope you enjoy the chat I've had with XCaliber. So I will see you next time, and that's goodbye from me and goodbye from XCaliber.
Yep, see you guys. Thanks.